next time you meet me in Gate City.
Oh, Cody Pope. I know Cody Pope.
Our friend is Cody, and we not having a good day.
Smack dab in the middle of all that. That was beautifully said, and I love that you said when you have a microphone in it. And we were able to do it.
It's about just showing up.
What up, world? Welcome back to another episode of Cody Central. Welcome back, welcome home, or welcome for the first time. If it's your first time, every night here is just a little bit different, and it always leads for an exciting conversation. With that said, drop a comment. Let us know what city and state you're watching from. If you're on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That would help us grow the Hellhound Publishing channel tremendously. If you're watching from Facebook, make sure you drop a like, drop a comment, share it to your post. We appreciate all of that help going down. We've got a really special episode in store for you guys tonight. I've got a longtime friend of mine in the studio with me here talking about some new projects that he's got coming up, some things that we want to get you guys filled in on. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in so far. Real quick, this episode is not sponsored. And however, if you're interested in sponsoring an episode, having any of your stuff plugged during the episode or anything like that, here's a quick little video to show you how to get involved with the program.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is go to hellhoundpublishing.com. Go to the menu, go find Cody Central, our show. Then you're going to scroll down and you're going to see a bunch of different donation options. Each one will have some really cool stuff that you get. Go to checkout, tell me what you want me to promote, cash out, simple as that.
Everybody that's been supporting the show, tonight is episode 32. That means nearly 30 some odd weeks of doing this show. Huge thanks to Schoolyard Pro, my boy Danny Henn, who was the first sponsor of the program. And a big shout out to Photography by Ann Rova, who also sponsored the program. Let's jump into some stuff for this week. Let me turn on some tunes for you guys while I talk your ear off here. As always, if you guys dig the background music, this joint here was produced by my Hellhound brethren, Even Though. You can find him at beats_by_even_though, in case you didn't have enough underscores there. So music of the week this week. I picked, the band is La Dispute, and I'm covering No One Was Driving the Car, which is a pre-release of their upcoming album due later this year. Michigan-based post-hardcore band La Dispute is set to return this year after a nearly 6-year hiatus with a deeply emotional, passionate, anger-driven album in No One Was Driving the Car, due out in full in September. As of now, the band has released the first 4 songs from the album, and from the opening moment of track 1, I Shaved My Head, I got chills up my arms. Something about the drum intro with the kicks and the rim shots, followed by the vocal introduction, just felt very primal, very like a war call almost. As an artist, I strive to be this vulnerable with my music, and from these first few songs, I feel this next record will be their most poignant and their most raw yet. If you guys are interested in checking that out, like I said, the first 4 songs from the album are on all streaming platforms right now. La Dispute, No One Was Driving the Car. Movie of the week. I'm excited to get into this one with you guys. So my movie of the week this week, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. As you guys likely remember from previous episodes, I've been mentioning and looking forward to watching this one way or another, largely due in part to the Ketchup Entertainment saga. For those that don't know, basically Warner Brothers shelved a bunch of nearly completed movies with new ownership, and it was like a tax incentive program. And so a bunch of nearly finished movies got sent to purgatory and were thought that they were never going to see the light of day. And now this company, Ketchup Entertainment, has come in and started buying the rights to these things so they can save them from purgatory. That is the scoop behind The Day the Earth Blew Up. So basically, this movie was done, probably finished a year or two ago, maybe a little more, and it should have come out in theaters shortly after. And Warner Brothers merged with Discovery, and the guy David Zaslav, who is the new CEO, is basically a huge piece of garbage and decided to start his time running the empire by shelving a bunch of good movies, including Batgirl, which many in the industry that had the chance to work on it or see parts of it have said that that would have been a game-changing movie. Everyone knows how impactful Brendan Fraser's return to acting has been. He played a pivotal role in that as well. And so whether this movie was great or not, I'm watching all of these movies that Ketchup is saving because I think it's important what they're doing. And I really hope that us as the consumers can use our actions, use our purchases, whatever, to show people what we want. And we want to see the art actually make it to the people. Don't just make it for money and then shelve it. Now a bunch of people whose careers are depending on this thing seeing the light of day don't get anything further from it. With that said, this was honestly such a treat for a Looney Tunes movie. The animation was great. The story was fun. It was easy to follow. I personally love sci-fi. I'm sure many of you guys know that. And so all of the like intergalactic elements and all that kind of stuff just naturally appealed to me either way. All in all, this encapsulated a lot of things that bring me joy. My only wish is that I wish I had made it to see it in theaters because it certainly would have been worthwhile. Even for an animated feature, the amount of production work that went into it, it would have been awesome to see on the big screen. But nevertheless, I implore you to check it out. Watch it now. It's on streaming platforms everywhere. The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. Also, as I mentioned the last couple weeks, you guys know that I'm huge on physical media. Long live physical media, CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, VHS, cassette tapes, laser discs, books, magazines, comic books, you name it. Well, with that said, for home movie collectors, one of the biggest, most burgeoning home movie catalogs is the Criterion Collection. Criterion is an archival company that has saved, restored, and distributed movies as far back as the late 1800s, all the way to movies that are coming out right now. They take very important films and they give them really great packaging, really stacked bonus features, great restorations or 4K upgrades, just really remarkable stuff. And the reason I'm talking about it is because a couple times a year, Criterion will do exclusive sales where their entire catalog is 50% off. They do 2 of these with Barnes & Nobles. And so right now, the Criterion Barnes & Noble sale is live until July 27th. Any Barnes & Noble you go to, you can get any Criterion film, including box sets, for 50% off. Whether it's a 4K, a Blu-ray, or a DVD, it could be the Godzilla box set that normally costs $200 or $300. It could be the Bruce Lee box set that's normally like $80 or $90. It could be a single movie that is normally $20. Whatever you pick, it's 50% off. If you ever wanted to support physical media, if you ever wanted to have a few of your favorite movies at your disposal so that streaming can never take them away from you, if you just want to find some new stuff to watch and really challenge yourself to find some new entertainment, please go to your local Barnes & Noble, check out the Criterion Collection, and pick something up. This is one of the most important sales that happens in physical media every year. It's inspired a ton of other physical media companies to start coming out and doing their thing as well. And if we can support physical media, I promise you guys the landscape of art consumption as we know it is going to drastically change. Whether you're a fan of music, a fan of movies, a fan of video games, whatever it may be, all of entertainment has been largely impacted by the deficit of physical media. And so with so many people pushing for a resurgence, we're going to see the quality level of the art that we consume go up, because people are going to be able to start taking more risks, and they're going to be able to start doing things more independently without the necessity of depending on distributors and big conglomerates and all of that stuff. So just really wanted to highlight that, and I feel like both of those things are pretty important, so I apologize that I took so much time on that, but I just can't stress enough. I wouldn't do this podcast, I wouldn't have a record label, I wouldn't have much of a life that I care for if it wasn't largely due in part to physical media. The books that I own in my collection have got me through some difficult times, travels, all sorts of stuff. Music, I know most of us, is a pretty consoling and healing thing. Movies have brought me profound joy and interest and sparked a whole other world of interest. And I can't say enough about it. I don't want to beat it over a head. Go buy some fucking movies and follow me on Letterboxd. All right, we're back. Shout out to Dave, who said quit rambling. I don't know if you've ever listened to this show, but I never quit rambling, so sorry. Jennifer said, sorry, I'm late. No worries. Super glad you guys are here. Even if you don't want me to ramble anymore, hope you subscribe to the channel because other people ramble on here as well. Some quick important notes that I want to mention before we get into our pinned shows is my buddy and the partner of my guest tonight, John Batchelder, along with the theater community at the Middlesex University, are trying to replace the shuttered Luna Theater in Lowell, Massachusetts, and they want to replace it with the Owl Theater. If you want to learn more about how to support their mission and how to follow along with what they're doing, check out middlesex.edu/campus/Owl Theater. Anything you can do to help support their cause would be huge. And lastly, as I mentioned last week, I have a brand new music video right here on the Hellhound Publishing YouTube channel. It's called No Sugar Added. Camera operator was my brother Danny Guy from Dimes Productions, and I actually edited the video. So I'm really excited for you guys to check that out. Make sure you tune in right after the show is done, right here on the YouTube channel, Cody Pope and Byron G, No Sugar Added. With that said, let's run into some event listings. As we always mention, if you have a show coming up, whether it's concert, pop-up kitchen, party, theater, anything, send an email to codycentralshow@gmail.com and we will keep your event in here for consideration. As I start off all the time, every Sunday night is Rap Night Manchester at the Shaskeen in Manchester, New Hampshire. There's open ciphers and artist showcases. It's $5, 21 plus, hosted by DJ Myth, Sean Caliber, and I9. Rap Night just celebrated their 12-year anniversary. That's 12 years of every single Sunday at the Shaskeen. Please make sure you go out and support them if you're a big hip-hop head. Also, for comedy fans, every Thursday is the Laugh Attic at Strange Brew in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's a comedy open mic showcase hosted by previous Cody Central guest, Danny P. They bring in regional comics, national comics, open micers, first-timers, all sorts of stuff. If you want to shoot your shot at being funny, or if you just want a place to see hilarious people, go to the Laugh Attic every single Thursday, Manchester, New Hampshire. Now to start off our event listings, this first one is a little tough, admittedly. So if you aren't familiar, the New England hip hop community was hit with an absolutely devastating loss this week as Lowell native Scott Gaudette, professionally known as Pipe Dreams, sadly lost his life this week. The gathering of Lowell area friends and artists are going to be hosting a celebration of life show this Friday, July 11th, in order to help raise funds for the family and for forthcoming funeral expenses. If you don't have plans or tickets elsewhere, I implore you to please support this show, show love to Scott's family and loved ones in this unimaginably trying time. Pipe Dreams was such a great guy. He did so much for the Lowell music community. I had the pleasure of rocking a few shows with him. Big shout out to Jumptown who connected us on that. And man, it's just devastating that a guy that was so heartful, a guy that cared so much, and a guy that was so young had to lose it so early. So please, much love to Pipe Dreams, much love to Scott Gaudette, much love to his whole family, the whole Lowell hip hop area. And that's going to be at Thirsty First this Friday. With that said, also this Friday, July 11th, 90s emo legends Cap and Jazz perform a rare performance at Royale in Boston, Massachusetts. Also on Friday, July 11th, Wu-Tang Clan's final tour, Run the Jewels, is opening. They're going to be at the TD Garden in Boston, Mass. This is going to be one of the most epic nights of the year. Saturday, July 12th, the return of one of New England's longest-standing technical metal groups, The Summoned, performing for the first time since 2023 in support of Cryptoderia of Pendulum Records and Q-Forza, and that's going to be at Kodo in Lowell, Massachusetts. Also on Saturday, July 12th, heavy beatdown and deathcore-style hardcore takes the stage at Alchemy in Providence, Rhode Island, when Voluntary Victim and Edict both take the stage. Sunday, July 13th, the otherworldly TDE MC Ab Soul brings his rare stage show to Boston for Brighton Music Hall. Wednesday, July 23rd, Oakland hip-hop legends famous for tracks like 93 Till Infinity, Souls of Mischief make their way to Burlington, Vermont for a special night at Higher Ground. Thursday, July 24th, New Hampshire-based guitarist and multi-instrumentalist Gary Smith is going to be performing live at Trenta in Wolfboro, New Hampshire from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday, July 26th is the Street Power record release show featuring Colin of Arabia, the Mongoloids, and more. It's going to be at the Middle East Downstairs in Cambridge. The show was originally at Sonia. It's sold out once already. They moved it to the Middle East Downstairs to open up more tickets. Lock in now, see some of the most gnarly hardcore bands old and alike, celebrate the upcoming release of Me Time by Street Power, and just settle in for one of the craziest shows of the summer. Mongoloids haven't been to Massachusetts or the Boston area since Anchors Up existed, so that's easily over 10 plus years now. So that's going to be a wild, wild show. Wednesday, July 30th, 2000s Brooklyn alternative indie rock giants TV on the Radio make their long-awaited return with a select run of shows at Roadrunner in Boston, Massachusetts. Sunday, August 3rd, iconic hip-hop group De La Soul take the stage at one of music's most notable gatherings, the Newport Jazz Fest in Newport, Rhode Island. Saturday, August 9th, legendary stand-up comedian Louis C.K. makes his way to Foxwoods for a special night of pure raw comedy. Saturday, August 9th, That Motown Band performs hits from the Supremes, Marvin Gaye, The Temptations, Smokey Robinson, The Four Tops, and more. That's going down at the Park Theater in Jaffrey, New Hampshire. Saturday, August 16th and Sunday, August 17th, legendary heavy Southern music icons Crowbar and I Hate God join together for a tour fans have craved for years from the Titans of Low Tune. Saturday, August 16th sees this historic tour hit Portland, Maine for not one, but two shows because one is already sold out, and then Boston, Mass the next night on Sunday. If you miss out on this, I feel horribly sad for you. Thursday, August 21st, 1980s Portsmouth, New Hampshire punk rock natives The Queers embark upon a stop in historic Lowell, Mass. That's going to be at Taffeta Music Hall. Friday, August 22nd, iconic Massachusetts rock metal hybrid Cave-In celebrates 25 years of their album Jupiter with a full album performance at Sinclair in Cambridge. Friday, August 22nd is Twin Peaks, A Conversation with the Stars at the Nashua Center for the Arts. Ray Wise, Kimmy Robertson, Harry Goaz, and a bunch of the cast and crew of Twin Peaks, the David Lynch program, are going to be right here in Nashua at the Center for the Arts, telling stories, doing Q&A, and talking about all things Twin Peaks. Rest in peace, David Lynch. Friday, August 29th, American industrial legends Nine Inch Nails embark upon a huge tour, in their first in a number of years, at the TD Garden. Saturday, August 30th is Hardcore Flea Volume 4 at Ralph's in Worcester, Massachusetts. Thursday, September 11th, there will be a screening of the film High Fidelity at the Music Hall in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, followed by an in-person Q&A with none other than John Cusack. Wednesday, September 17th, the notably reclusive yet stellar MC Billy Woods takes the stage at Brighton Music Hall in Allston, Mass. Thursday, September 18th, late 80s New Jersey punk icons The Bouncing Souls are bringing their latest tour to Royale. Sunday, September 21st, is the 4K re-release screening of the famous concert film Stop Making Sense from the Talking Heads. The film will be screened, followed by a live in-person Q&A with none other than Talking Heads guitarist Jerry Harrison. Thursday, September 25th, absolute punk rock legend Iggy Pop takes the stage at Suffolk Downs and is joined by iconic 80s UK punk rock act Sex Pistols, featuring a mostly original lineup, plus Frank Carter on vocals. Saturday, September 27th, is Punk in the Park at the Palladium Outdoors in Worcester, Massachusetts, featuring Bad Religion, Pennywise, Comeback Kid, Face to Face, The Adolescents, and more. Wednesday, October 15th, 90s emo and indie rock giants Modest Mouse take stage at the MGM Music Hall at Fenway Park in Boston. Saturday, October 18th, is Alberil Day at Roadrunner in Boston, Mass. Band announcements will officially be coming soon. This is an event to honor the legacy of Boston hardcore pioneer Al Baril of SSD Control, who recently passed away due to colon cancer. All proceeds from the show will benefit the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Follow the band for more updates at SSD Control Official. Thursday, November 6th, late 70s punk icons GBH make their way to Allston, Mass for a memorable night of raw and aggressive in-your-face punk at Brighton Music Hall. Saturday, December 6th, to celebrate the 70th birthday of New York hardcore legend Vinny Stigma, Agnostic Front put together a night to remember at Irving Plaza in New York City. And lastly, Saturday, December 13th, the crazy yearly festival that was formerly the Every Time I Die holiday show, now referred to as Blissmas 25, is at the Buffalo River Works in Buffalo, New York, and is going to be featuring Glassjaw, Saves the Day, Terror, Onyx, Haywire, tons more. If you're able to go to that, that is going to be one of the festivals of the year. Tickets are on sale now at blissmas.co. And as always, if you have an event that you want to plug in here, send an email to codycentralshow@gmail.com. I'll take a look, and if it seems like something I'm into, I will throw it right here in the event run. With that said, I can see Jaden is here for our show. Shout out to Jaden. He said, I came for the ramen. I've had Ryan's cooking before. Delicious. I love that. I'm with you on that. So let's jump right into it. Tonight, I'm joined by a longtime friend. We've spent years simply enjoying each other's friendship, sharing in extracurricular activities, experiencing some hype-filled highs, and some very deep lows. Through everything, this guy has stayed optimistic, forward-pushing, and is now finally taking flight on pursuing one of his lifelong dreams of operating a ramen pop-up experience influenced by the arts and culture of his youth. Which, with much more to share on that, please drop all your applause in the comments and welcome my great friend, Ryan Gravelle.
How we doing?
Doing great, brother. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. It's weird to not have you in the comments talking to us.
Yeah, I'll drop some fire emojis to make it seem normal.
It's well earned, man. Real quick, let me throw up Ryan's banner here for you guys. So as I've mentioned, Ryan is raising money to start a ramen pop-up experience. We're going to be talking about that tonight. But just so you guys know, if you want to learn more about what's going on, how to donate, anything like that, make sure that right after the program, you head over to granitestateramen.com and you'll be able to get everything you want right there. With that said, first things first, the chat is open for Q&A as long as we're live tonight. Any questions that you guys have for our guest, drop them in the chat, and we will share the answer, and we will share and answer our favorite runs. John, shout out to John. We were just talking about you. He said, "That's my husband. His ramen is fantastic." All truth in this chat tonight, other than the guy who told me to quit rambling, but we'll let him live. So, thank you for being here. So, as you know, you've watched the show probably 31 times at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
If I had to guess. So, you always know I like to do a little bit of a intro kicker. So, normally it would be like, oh, you're a skateboarder. So, when did you start skateboarding? But because we have a bit of a history and I kind of know that these things parallel, I know that somewhat due in part to your love of ramen also came from your experiences with anime and
Very
following
much so.
Japanese animation as a kid. And so, which of those came first for you, I guess is the first thing I want to know. Were you an anime fan first, or were you experimenting with home cooking first?
I started cooking early on in my life, and I didn't blend it with the shows I was watching probably until I was early to mid teenager. So I would probably say anime came first.
Okay.
Like, actually, they probably both came separately, and they didn't merge until later on.
Yeah.
I think is the best way to put it.
Okay, so you were probably like junior high-ish when the anime kind of hit big.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
it was similar for me too. I can literally remember being, I think I was 12 in 7th grade, and that's the first time I heard about people tape trading. And I just thought that was the coolest thing.
I
ever.
used to do that for a while.
Yeah.
It was all done early internet. It was great. And people only sent enough money to pay for supplies, and we were just trading fan subbed anime. I had several double VCRs, and I would get a tote in the mail, and I would just record and then send them out, and then send the originals back, keeping some for myself.
Yeah, I love that. What a time, dude. That's people that didn't grow up in that time. I think it's hard for them to understand how crazy it was to be like, I've never heard of this thing, but I will take this tape home and dive into it. That was the most exciting part. That's why, like, with the Criterion stuff, I'm always telling people like about blind buys. Every time there's a Criterion sale, I blind buy at least one or two things because that's how you find new stuff. In the worst case, if I bought a movie that sucks, it was probably $20, and I'll go trade it for a movie I like. But it was worth taking that risk. And anime was very similar to that, where it was like we didn't have a way to know all the cool anime. We just had to try it out.
Yeah, there's one memory I have. I think it was on. I played Vampire Hunter D at like midnight once, and on like TBS it was midnight, and like I've met like 4 or 5 other people in my life now where that also changed their view of what anime could be, because before it was all, young kid stuff before that.
Yeah, I feel that. I was like I was a Toonami kid, so I definitely like ran home after school to try and catch the Toonami block with Dragon Ball Z and whatnot. And it really was like those tape trading things that, I don't want to sound like a snob, but like elevated my taste in anime, where it was like, it would have been probably a couple more years before I found out about Cowboy Bebop if it had not been for tape trading, or like Akira or Outlaw Star. There was just all these things that like eventually made their way to like late night cable programming and stuff, but for the most part it was like, if you didn't know where it was, you weren't getting access to it.
It was almost like a private, like, cult classic.
Yeah.
That you needed to, like, it was almost like a after hours private club almost.
I think that's why I always have such a precedent for like word of mouth. Like I tell people all the time, it's like, dude, you telling somebody about X, Y, and Z is way more valuable than me like writing a review about it. And I think that comes from that time where it's like everybody was essentially a tastemaker in a way. And so it was like you had to trust your buddy had good taste when he was telling you that that something was cool. We got some questions popping in, so I'm going to shift course here a little bit. Our first question comes from Jaden, who said, creative moment, loaded baked potato ramen. What recipe would you make?
Loaded baked potato ramen. You could make potato starch noodles out of that, or you could get large russets and maybe twice bake the shells and use them as small ramen bowls, maybe.
I'm intrigued. Damn, I think you sparked a good idea here, Jaden. we're getting potato ramen bowls out of this, so much love there. All right. Comes a little bit there, but that's okay. While we're still on the anime tip, just a little bit longer. Do you remember some of the programs that you saw that really like exemplified the ramen culture and kind of like opened that up to you for the first time? Is there like a specific example, perhaps?
I hate to go to such a cliche one, but I'll have to use Naruto as because prior to that there were animes where certain characters liked certain foods, and those were always large and flashy in the anime world. But off the top of my head, Naruto is one of the early ones where he was always eating the same type of ramen and stuff like that. It would cause you to go, okay, the ramen I get at the store doesn't look like that. I boil it for 6 minutes, 8 minutes, and then I'm eating it. There's no toppings, anything like that. So
it's a little package.
So I started trying to mimic and add things. A lot of them are really bad. Ketchup does not belong in ramen. I've tried.
I can only imagine that. Oh, we got a question from the beautiful debonair John Batchelor, who said, "What's your favorite part of making ramen, and what has been your favorite challenge to overcome as you were making?"
I would say right now it would be making the ramen eggs. I love to eat those, so right now it is one of my favorite things to make. Challenging wise, I would probably say is coming up with ramen that will make the most people happy. Working on the beginning setups for the pop-up, I had to figure out what types of ramen most people would like to eat to make sure that I have enough of a variety without having too much to deal with. So.
Yeah. Let me backtrack a little bit here, because I feel like there's probably some uninitiated people in our chat here. That was such a great question, by the way, John. Thank you. I'm going to pull up these other questions in a second, too. But just because you mentioned the ramen egg, for the uninitiated, what is the difference in preparing a ramen egg versus preparing a traditional egg?
Well, first of all, a achitama or achitamago or ramen egg makes that much easier. Started as a soft boiled egg. It's only cooked for 6, maybe 7 minutes. So it is rather soft. And then once they are peeled, they are moved into an additional step where they are aged and almost pickled in soy sauce, mirin, and sake, both of which are alcohols. And it pickles the egg and congeals parts of it and changes its texture.
It's wild because for context, if any of you guys have seen GraniteStateRamen.com already, I had the pleasure of helping Ryan do the video that he posted on there. So I was actually able to taste a bunch of the ramen and try a bunch of the materials out and stuff. And so that was like really cool insight. But that was definitely one of the most notable. And I don't think I was there for you preparing the egg. So I think that's
They take about 2 days.
So you just buy like regular eggs at the store? And
Regular eggs.
Just go from there?
Yep.
That's wild. And do they sell them prepared it like that? Or you just strictly have to know how to do that?
I haven't found a place that makes them prepared.
Probably gross if they were.
Probably.
That's fair. All right, we got some cool questions here. Shout out to Erica M, who said, "What's your favorite non-traditional ramen topping?"
When I came across it the first time, I found it very strange. I loved it. Cheese.
Cheese?
Yeah. There have been several cheesy ramens I've tried over the last few years. One of them was literally a slice of cheese on top of the ramen. Some of it is more mixed into it, where it's almost like a ramen-esque spicy macaroni and cheese. Which that one was really good. But yeah, I think I would have to say cheese was the strangest one I've come across that I absolutely loved.
That's awesome. That actually sounds pretty great. Dude, shout out to Newman, who I haven't seen in 100 years, but he just dropped a question. He said, "Hey Brian, what about Food Wars?"
Food Wars is an amazing anime. There are several dishes on that I would love to try to make. There is through that show I learned how to turn instead of a poached egg, turning it literally into like a cloud. It's crazy. I would recommend that anime to anyone that is obsessed with food and anime.
Yeah.
Just don't watch it hungry. Don't watch it hungry.
So I'm never gonna watch it. Oh man, that is. All right, so let's talk. Oh, Tori is a great question. What is your favorite add-in for ramen?
That is difficult. It depends on the ramen broth, I think. One of the most popular ones and ones that I like, Tungasku ramen, which is a pork bone broth. That one, I believe it or not, like corn on that one. Corn was one that I came across also as well that I didn't expect it on some ramen, but it fits perfectly.
Corn and cheese both sound really good. These do not sound very strange to me at all. Maybe I'm just a psycho, but corn, I could see that being pretty good. Newman said, we aren't that old yet, brother. Happy to tune in. Man, I feel it. I think we just feel that old. But man, I hope you're doing well, man. It's been too long. Wild times. Need a whole other podcast for some of those stories. Let's talk about the actual pop-up itself, right? So I think we've kind of covered for some of the non-indoctrinated yet. Ryan grew up a huge fan of anime and ramen culture from Japan, and has now evolved that into developing his own recipes and learning the cooking styles, and now is taking it a step further and is fundraising to start an actual dining, like a pop-up dining experience where he'll be able to prepare meals for you and you'll be able to dine in and eat there as well. And so could you tell us a little bit about what people should expect from a Granite State ramen experience?
First of all, traditional, no nonsense ramen. I will have other additives that people can add, but I'm not trying to make the newest, flashiest ramen. I like classic, traditional ramen. And since we don't have a lot of it in our city and in our county, I want to bring that experience to as many people as I can. You will expect quick service. It should only take me less than 10 minutes between you sitting down and ordering and me handing you your bowl of ramen. Since I've removed a lot of the extra bells and whistles, it should be direct. You decide and order, mark on a piece of paper what you want, hand it to me, and I'll turn around, make the food right in front of you, like many ramen carts and small pop-ups do. I really like that intimacy between the cook and the customer. I find some bigger chains that kind of disappears in a slew of extra people and servers and things like that.
Yeah. And it's cool that I think when we talk about like pop-up food and stuff like that, traditionally what comes to mind is like a food truck or like a pop-up tent kind of thing. But this is different because while it'll be like a tent that's like able to pop up for events, the fact that you're doing the prep and serving as well as creating the dining experience simultaneously, you don't see that done very often. And I think that is super commendable. Where did the like vision for that come about as to like how you could manifest this and pop up at a place and have this whole setup?
So the concept I got from Japanese food stall carts, or yatai. They I've watched countless videos. I'd love to go to Japan sometime and try them out myself. That's down the road. But they wheel these carts into an area and they open them up and set up. There's a kitchen, mini kitchen on one side and a serving area on the other. And it allows people to bring a sense of community while they eat, because everyone is not really tight, close together, but close enough where people can communicate while they eat and stuff like that.
Is it fair to kind of compare it to like a hibachi dining setting in the sense of like you may be sitting with strangers, but you're all kind of at the same table, so to speak?
Yes. Although I'm not lighting anything necessarily on fire or hiding shrimp tails in my hat, but I will be.
It's still young.
That is very true. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's the type of experience I'm trying to pass forward.
Is there any kind of events that you've like already imagined yourself kind of popping up at? Like, is there something in particular that you're like, oh, if there was a amp guard game, or if there was a music concert, or if there was a thing at Greeley Park, like, is there something that's come to mind that you were like, this would be the perfect atmosphere for what I'm trying to do?
That's part of that is actually where the initial like push and drive to finally do this is for those who don't know, there is a live action role play or LARP game called Amp Guard that I've spent 3/4 of my life attending and participating and helping run. And the concept of adventuring with your friends in the woods at night and stumbling upon a small ramen shop that you enjoy, have fun, have food, and then head on your way. And when you try to show it to your friends who had gone to bed early the next morning, it's gone. And that concept really, like, having that vision really was the final like push and draw that I needed to get to that, because there are countless Amp Guard events that I could set up at. Other events I would love to work eventually with the city and maybe set up during the winter stroll. I think a nice hot bowl of ramen would be the perfect thing in the middle of December. With the laws, at least in Nashua, I should be able to set up anywhere another food truck or hot dog stand does. So I could set up at times by Greeley Park. I've already been scoping out several areas that someone was recently contacted me. They have a store that sells anime and cosplay supplies, and I've already spoken with them, and maybe setting up near them would be great and kind of draw a similar like crowd.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to get into how to bring this to life, right? Because you've got all the pieces, you've got at least the information that you need. Biggest thing is you need the capital to execute, just like anybody else.
Indeed.
And so that's when we got together a few months ago and started brainstorming how to do like a fundraiser video. And then I proceeded to take 2 months to edit it, and then it eventually came out. But I'm gonna pop over to, I want to share this screen real quick because I think it's important for people to see what it is you're trying to do. So let me just get this tab open real quick. I want to show you guys the fundraiser, just so that we can talk about what it's going to take to get this thing off the ground. So hopefully, chat, hopefully you guys are all seeing my screen here in a second. Sorry, my computer's going a little slow. But so as you can see, if you go to granitestateRamen.com, it'll redirect you and bring you right here. And so the goal is we're trying to raise $6,500. So far, we're doing a great job already, all things considered. But let's talk a little bit about what does that $6,500 do to get you off the ground, so people know.
It literally helps buy all the equipment required, the actual pop-up itself, all of the burners to produce the food, the pots and pans in which to cook it in, the serving utensils, as well as lighting, power. Other things that will also help cover is pushing my website even farther. I want to be able to have it set up where customers who want to be able to find my shop can subscribe to the website once it is no longer linked to the crowdfunding. Then they will get a push notification where and when I set up. So if they are itching for ramen that particular evening, their phone will let them know that I will be available.
That's awesome.
It will also help cover several licenses that I have to cover. Safety licenses, food licenses, just like any other kitchen would need. But there are a couple of extra loopholes and things I have to jump through, extra licenses to have to be able to produce a semi-mobile kitchen.
That's fair. And guys, if you are seeing this right now, $6,500 is obviously not a small chunk of change, right? But when you put it in context of starting a business, getting it independently off of the ground, mobile and running, you could change somebody's life by contributing to that kind of fund. If Ryan gets this $6,500 in the next 27 days, his life will be an entirely different life come a year or 2 years from when he gets that money to start doing what he needs to do. And so that for me was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted him on the program tonight, so that we could jointly educate you guys on why this would be such a cool thing for us to have here in the city, but also eventually to be able to show up pretty much anywhere, so long as license and whatever deems it accessible. But guys, please, GraniteStateRamen.com. It'll bring you right here to the fundraising page. Watch the video that we made, and then whatever you can donate, $10, $1, $100, whatever the case is, all of this is going to help. And he's running on limited time, and so look at it. You're almost 25% of the way there. That's tremendous, dude. For something that you just launched a few weeks ago, that is absolutely tremendous. And I hope that people continue to get you over the finish line.
I hope so too. Even if I'm not able to reach my goal, it just pushes back when I would be able to open. I will open this ramen shop no matter what. It's just whether it's in 6 months or in 2 years.
Exactly.
So,
But it's going down no matter what. You guys can be part of it by visiting GraniteStateRamen.com. When you get this off the ground, do you have an idea as to, are you gonna like dive into this full steam and like try to be booking yourself as much as possible, or do you start with like particular events to kind of like get a feel for things and then start booking heavier after that? What is like more important to you?
definitely the latter. That way I can get, since I am building my kitchen and dining space from scratch, especially the first time I set up, I want to be able to make sure I can handle the flow of food. So smaller events, private functions will probably be where I start, just to get my feet wet. And then after I get out of my regular 9 to 5 job for now, I will go and set up in certain locations once I have it all set up. And then once I have a customer base and a feel of what parts of the city will best be an area to serve ramen at, I'll be able to come up with some sort of schedule.
Love that. In your like developing of this idea over Goku only knows how many years.
About 4 years now, like gun-hoing at it. So
Okay. So I know you said you haven't been to Japan, but I know, at least through Amtgard and everything else, you traveled like up and down the East Coast and probably through the Midwest and stuff like that as well. Have there been a number of like ramen spots or hot pot places or anything like that that kind of like gave you a little bit of inspiration, or a little bit of like, oh, I loved what this place did here and I love what this place did here, if I could merge those? Like,
definitely.
what are some of those places that kind of helped you kind of see your future?
There is a ramen shop in Albany, New York. I wish I remembered. There's a big mall that like the highway literally diverts around. There's a ramen shop in there. I have been trying to recreate the ramen eggs from this place. This guy has to put just the right amount of like molasses in it, and it adds a dark sweetness that you don't taste right away when you bite into the ramen egg, but it lasts and stays on your taste buds. And I have tried probably 10 different times to recreate it, and I still have not been able to do it yet.
Dude, I feel like with everything you're doing now, though, that's the kind of thing you could leverage to be like, hey, could I like spend a weekend like in your tutelage?
Most chefs, regardless of the genre in which they cook, tend to be tight-lipped when it comes to their recipes. I was born as a super taster. I have too many taste buds, so I'm able to pick things apart a lot easier. And being in the restaurant profession, I've made several chefs upset by tasting the differences and the changes and then bringing it up to them. So I don't think I would want to dishonor a ramen chef by asking him for his recipes or her recipes.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I guess I was looking at it as like, not like a lost art kind of thing, but it's like one of those things that like only so many people in the world know how to do. So it's like, how do you pass this knowledge on so that this continues to be a thing, you know? I guess that's where, and maybe that's just like naivety from watching too many like martial arts movies and shit, where it's like, you must take all of my knowledge and carry this forward.
Well, putting it out there, if anyone comes to my ramen shop to ask me of my recipes, I will give you 90% of the recipes. not all of each recipe, but not enough to start you off on your own path.
Crowd is with you, man. When you get this happening, it will be absolutely amazing.
I hope so. I feel
Your
it
family
will.
believes in you. They're in the chat letting us know. You got the chat right here too. Ryan keeps looking down and doesn't want to see what you guys are talking about, but I literally have a giant TV monitor in front of him, so
Oblivious.
If he's ignoring you, it's his fault. Man, I'm so excited for you to like get this thing off the ground, no matter how long it takes. I think it's going to be tremendous, and I just think that where we live, there's not really anything like that. There's not really a place that caters to that. There's obviously like Asian food restaurants and stuff like that, but I don't think there's a place I can think of that like specializes in culturally authentic ramen, like what you seem to have in mind.
The closest I've come is Boston.
Yeah.
There's an amazing place in Brookline. If you go down that far, I would recommend looking for it. It's in Coolidge Corner.
Shout out to the Coolidge Corner Theater.
I love that place. There's a line at this tiny place that holds maybe 20 people. There's always a line. They know what they've got. But locally, yeah, like you said, most of the places you can get ramen, they serve a plethora of other things and then ramen. And even some of those are dwindling. I recently heard that Surf took down their ramen option. So it's all the more reason to get the pop-up up and running so that people know that no matter what, when they show up and walk into my pop-up, they will be able to sit down and eat ramen. No gimmicks, no fancy flares. I'm not trying to sell anything else, just a delicious bowl of broth, noodles, and toppings.
It's funny what you said. You just really caught me by surprise with the thing about Surf. From a restaurant, so I guess we didn't really cover this much, but Ryan has a plethora of food and restaurant experience, both from working in restaurants to doing meal plans for the elderly to doing hospitality and even things like food delivery, like your pizza and subs kind of. So you've had like the whole range of different food options or food proprietorship, I guess we could call it.
I have worked in every step of the flow of food process, except eating them for the customers.
Which time is coming. So from like a restaurateur's standpoint, like in what we were talking about with Surf, would having ramen as an additional part of your offerings be a costly venture if it wasn't like if you had a restaurant that offered seafood and all this other shit and you have ramen as well, to do ramen at the level that they're doing seafood, is that like a costly venture because of the specific ingredients that you need?
You hit the nail on the head at the level that they're making the rest of their food. A lot of it that I've had, it seems like an afterthought. Oh, this is popular. We can also serve it along with what we have. And most of the ramen in our area, not going to lie, is pretty decent. I usually will rank it around a B+. They don't get everything right. There's some, maybe it's not as savory as I feel it should be, or maybe the ramen egg is literally just a boiled egg cut in half. I don't hold it against them. Again, it's not their bread and butter. It's something they serve in addition to the other foods that they serve. But when ramen is everything you are making, it has to be top notch.
Sounds like we got to do that. You ever seen those one bite pizza reviews?
Oh,
We would do a one scoop ramen review.
that would be fun.
Bring the master to all the places and be like, undercarriage is just a little floppy. This egg is just a little too soft. I got to give it a 6 out of 10. start making enemies before you open up shop?
Oh, that would go over wonderful.
Oh my gosh. I normally wrap our interviews with what are your goals for 2025 and beyond, but I think it's safe to say that we know what your goals are. What I guess I would ask is, so you have a pretty unique life situation between your home life, your pets, your working, your hobbies, your friends, all of these different things. Bringing this new business venture into the fold over the last couple of years, and obviously this year ramping up a lot more, how has that affected your time management with all of your obligations? Have you found any difficulties?
It's thrown it all out of whack. But my goal with it is I would love, it'd be great if this took off enough and was popular enough where I wouldn't have to worry about my day job. I could spend the day prepping and getting things ready, relaxing, figuring out the best places for me to set up for the day, setting up in the afternoon and being open until I could stay open till midnight. Midnight ramen would be amazing. The anime nerds would go nuts.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We will see.
I like that though. That in and of itself is an important drive to have. And that is one of the reasons why I do this show, is because you know me obviously for God knows how long now. I've never been about working for someone else. I've always been about being independent and being able to be the person who cuts my own paycheck, so to speak, and to not be on other people's time and on other people's determination of your value and worth. And the show is expressly here to spotlight other people that want to do the same thing. I struggle to have conversations with people who are excited to go to work tomorrow and punch the clock and be on a paycheck. And that works for some people, so it's I'm not knocking it by any means, but I get the most inspired by people who are willing to see a future and take a risk on that future. And I think that it's just worth saying publicly that I commend you a lot for this, because there's been many times in our lives where it would be very easy for us to get comfortable and to just go with the flow and
I'm really good at going with the flow.
I know you've gone with the flow for a long time, and that's why it makes me so excited for you to see the potential in yourself and all the stuff that you can do, because you've done a lot for so many people, big, small, old, young, major, minor. You've always been a confidant. You've always been somebody dependable that people can rely on. You've sacrificed yourself to help other people countless times. You've sacrificed your own comfort for other people's comfort. And so I sincerely hope that all of that effort and karma that you put into just being a good person for so long comes back tenfold in you seeing the success of this thing coming to fruition.
Thank you very much, Cody. I hope that's how it works out.
That's what we're hoping. So we got another question here from Tori. She said, do you plan to use a local farm for your produce?
There's actually a couple of people that I've been in touch with. There are 2 local farms. I've been in touch with a local butcher to talk about where they get their pork from. Because got to have our Chaosu ramen pork. And chicken for those who can't eat pork. But yes, I would like to keep it as local as possible. Where I can't, I will get as close to local as possible. I have gotten a lot out of the community I live in and want to be able to return that favor and keep everything flowing.
I love that. I think that's so important.
Local businesses need local businesses.
Straight up, say it again one more time.
Local businesses need local businesses.
That's right. Local businesses need local businesses. We cannot stress how important it is to shop local, whether it's food, apparel, entertainment, whatever the case is. 9 times out of 10, there's a local option for you, and I implore you to check it out. There's nothing wrong with going to AMC. There's nothing wrong with going to the mall. There's nothing wrong with going to Burger King if that's your thing. But balance it out by eating local, shopping local. Find a good center of gravity to where you know that your dollars are going into your community, but you can also do the things that you want to do and not worry about it either. The more of us that are capable of doing that and finding that balance, the more that our communities will feel the impact of our contributions. So I just can't stress local everything enough. Man, thank you so much for doing this with me tonight. I feel like we could literally, I have so many things I could talk to you about, but I know that people on here probably got to go take bong rips or make dinner or whatever the case is.
Probably.
My last question for you, is there a piece of advice that you could give to the audience based on your personal experiences?
No matter how difficult it gets, try to stay positive. Even if you have to convince yourself, sometimes that's what it takes to take the next step forward. Because no one else is going to do it for you otherwise.
But ain't that the truth, man? Man, thank you so much for that. What a great way to go out on this. One more time, check the banner right here, GraniteStateRamen.com. Make sure you guys go and support. Make sure you guys donate what you can. Make sure you guys stay tuned and follow with the movement. Keep up for updates when it's going to go live. Ryan, I love you. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Love you too, Cody. Thank you for having me on.
And I love you guys too, Cody Central World. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate everybody that was in here. A lot of first-time people here tonight, which was really cool. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I sincerely hope that you'll come back. We're here pretty much every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Hellhound Publishing on YouTube or Cody Pope on Facebook. If you are watching from Facebook, please do us a favor. Jump over to YouTube, drop a like, comment, and subscribe. We're really trying to get our follower count on YouTube up, our subscription count, sorry. I'm sure a lot of you guys know, but once you get your subscriptions to a certain benchmark, YouTube grants you a lot more opportunities, including being part of their partner program where you can start earning revenue from your videos. And so over the last 2 or 3 years, myself and my teammates at Hellhound Publishing have been really pushing our YouTube channel, doing music videos, doing multiple podcasts, not just Cody Central, doing behind the scenes of events that we have going on, micro documentaries, all Hellhound Film Club, all sorts of stuff. We would appreciate your support tremendously. Like I said, thank you so much to everybody that's tuned in tonight. Last thing I'm going to leave you guys with, I mentioned at the top of the hour, but in case you weren't here, I just released a brand new music video on the Hellhound Publishing channel. It's for a song called No Sugar Added from Cody Pope and Byron G. My buddy Dimes shot the video, and then I was the one who edited it. And so both of us and the whole team here at Hellhound would be super grateful for your feedback. A lot of you guys know I don't have a ton of music videos, and I'm trying to change that. And so if this one goes over well and I edited it myself, you guys are going to be getting a lot more music videos out of me. So that's all on that front. Thank you guys for all the love and support. We are going to see you guys next Monday. And until then, it's Hellhound till we underground. Good night, all.
Cody Central is written and produced by Cody Pope for Hellhound Publishing. If you'd like to sponsor the program and have your brand, podcast, or service featured, Learn more about that today at www.hellhoundpublishing.com/Cody-Central. Additional ways to support the program include purchasing music, joining our Patreon for exclusive content, or simply donating at any of the links available in the QR codes above.
I certainly feel sorry for you.